The Alabaster's Lord Sword, a fantastic yet broken greatsword in Elden Ring. Its strangely higher motion values and lower consumption with stamina makes it one of the best and heaviest hitting greatswords, allowing you to decimate basically every boss in the game, even with one of the most simplest builds possible. And of course today, we're going to be showing you how to do that for yourself. So yes, hello everybody, welcome back to another video on this channel. I know it's been a little while since we've done an ultimate build. In fact, it's actually almost been 4 months since we have done the last one. I know I've kept you guys waiting long enough. So our focus is back on Elden Ring, creating some really fun builds for you guys, especially as the Tarnished edition of the game is seemingly just around the corner. So if you are looking to get back into the game ahead of that release, which by the way, the Tarnished edition is the latest edition of the game that's being released on the Switch too, but we will be receiving DLC packages for the other platforms, so for Xbox, PlayStation and PC, where we'll also get the new content that is added in that Tarnished edition. Like I say, in the meantime, there's plenty of fun builds to go through, and the one that we're going through today of course revolves around the Alabaster Lord Sword. So before I go any further, I guess I should show you where you even get this, and it does require doing a little bit of Rani's quest line, because we do need to be making our way to the Scarlet Rock Lake, and if you don't want to do Rani's quest, you can actually go through the Deep Root Depths as well, and use the coffin that's near like the Soluria fight. But either way, when you get yourself to the Angel River, you can then work your way down to the Scarlet Rot Lake, where if you press a couple of these buttons, more importantly the last two, as if you're heading towards the Stell's Arena, you will create this pillar system to appear out of the lake, to which you can then go up it, and you will see this orb where an Alabaster Lord will spawn in. Obviously defeat said Alabaster Lord, and upon defeating him, he will then drop this fantastic sword for you. As I mentioned in the intro, this weapon is genuinely busted. Don't ask me why, but this is the only great sword with significantly higher motion values, which if you don't know what motion values are, they basically dictate how much damage your weapon does, or at least how much your damage is multiplied by in order to calculate the final damage it does. And motion values are different depending on what type of attack you're doing. Like for example, light attacks have a much lower motion value compared to something like a charged heavy, which is why you obviously do significantly more damage with a charged heavy compared to just some regular light attacks. But of course, without boring you too much, there's a lot more to motion values and all of the hidden mechanics that you don't see on screen, because you gotta think about resistances depending on what enemy you're coming up against, and of course split damage scalings, which the Alabaster's Lord Sword is actually a physical and magic based weapon. But saying that, I am just going to quickly show you a demonstration of me doing charged heavies with the Alabaster's Lord Sword compared to actually the Death's Poker, which has a very similar rating at low level. If you have 16 strength and then 17 dexterity for the Death's Poker specifically, you will be getting an AR rating of 505 for the Alabaster's Lord Sword, again if it's max level, and then at max level for the Death's Poker you get 480, so they're fairly similar. Obviously there's 25 damage difference between the two, but when you do a charged heavy with both, you can see you do significantly more damage with the Alabaster Lord Sword. This is the move that has like the bugged or like suspicious motion values, because they are much higher than the rest of the great swords, which again, don't ask me why, but it has like an additional 50 points worth of motion values specifically for charged heavy attacks, but the rest of the regular attacks have a similar motion value. So specifically with the Alabaster Lord Sword, it is one of the strongest charge heavy weapons available. And then as you can probably imagine, the build we're making around this weapon is revolving around charged heavy attacks. So here are all of the stats, talismans and wonder physic combination for this particular build. So as you can see, we've got 50 vigor, 14 mind, 21 endurance, 54 strength, 29 dexterity, 18 intelligence, 33 faith and then 10 arcane. Now these stats are from a wretch starter class, so feel free to use any other starting class if you will, or if you've got a character that is started with another starter class. We are just mainly focusing on strength, health, with a little bit of intelligence to meet the minimum requirement, and of course a little bit extra dex, because with the 54 strength, when we're two-handing the weapon, we actually get the equivalent of 50% of our strength stat applied to our character. So where we've got 54, we get an additional 27, which pushes it up to 81, which of course is up to the final soft capped for strength. That means we're getting the most damage out of strength whilst putting a little bit of stats into dexterity and intelligence just to boost the overall damage with the weapon. Of course, the 33 Faith is purely there for our buffs, which is going to be Golden Vow and Howler Shabiri, so also feel free to use the Madness proccing buffs from things like the Madness Hand, Black Dumpling Helm, and of course the Age One's Exaltation if you so wish. But we are relying on the charged heavy attacks to basically pull this weapon through. So Axe Talisman, Two-Handed Talisman, the Ritual Sword Talisman are all going to be buffing the damage pretty much the most out of any other talismans, unless you do want to go with 0 armor and use the Blue Dancer charm, again if you so wish. But we're also making use of the Double-Headed Turtle Talisman because, like I mentioned earlier, because that is one of the things that's boosting our regenerative stat for our stamina, we are also getting stamina back super quickly, so we're hardly using any at all when using the charged heavies, getting the stamina back real quick. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a player that typically plays right on the edge of the stamina bar, using every single last ounce. But with this build, you're hardly ever going to run out, or if you do, again, that Turtle Talisman will help out and regen it as quickly as possible. And then you can finish off this build with the Thorny crack tier as well as the Spiked crack tier, because again, we can be a bit quicker, maybe throw in some light attacks as well to boost our damage with successive attacks, before then completely finalizing the build with also the Rakshas's armor set. It's super simple, but it doesn't need to be extravagant. It's just a very clear charged heavy build, which is going to be the thing that gets the most out of this weapon, because again, the high motion values are tied to the charged heavy, so you must be using them at all times where you can basically. But even still, it's a great sword. It does really good stance damage. Again, actually the charged heavies do 33 points worth of stance damage, with jumping attacks doing around 29, light attacks doing 16. So again, with low stamina consumption, high stance, high damage output, you're going to easily dominate even in the later New Game Pluses, which I believe I would have put a thing on screen at the beginning, but the gameplay you're seeing in the background is from New Game Plus 5. But as you're also hopefully seeing, even in the later New Game Pluses, this weapon makes the game an absolute joke. So if you haven't tried it already, I highly recommend that you do. So with that said, that is the ultimate Alabaster Lord Sword build for you guys, which is a bit of a tongue twister, but let me know in the comments below. Like I said, we are going to be going through a lot of weapons because there's still, believe it or not, a lot of weapons I haven't covered on this channel. So if there's any specific weapons you want to see me do, make sure you get in the comments down below and let me know what you want to see next. But also whilst you're down there, if you don't mind me asking you just to do the YouTube thing of hitting that like button and subscribing if you're new, because then that way you don't miss out on those future videos, because they're going to be coming thick and fast for you guys. Also live streaming 2 or 3 times a week, going through some really fun runs from start to finish, beating all of the bosses in Elden Ring with specific builds. So if you want to get involved with that, again, being subscribed will be the best way to catch those. But other than that, that's basically everything for this video, guys. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Go and have an absolute blast with this weapon, and I guess I'll catch you in the next video of whatever it is that we make. Bye bye.